بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله لله تبارك وتعالى. So we reached up to page number 74 in the fourth objective, which is on az-zakat, and we're talking about zakat on trade goods. Let us start with Al-Fatiha to the soul of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. Al-Fatiha. Now,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, Zakat on trade goods. 4.9. Trade goods are appraised at the end of the year in terms of the type of money they were purchased with, and if this reaches the zakat minimum, per last of the traveler, 592.9 grams of silver if bought with monetary currency or silver, and 84.7 grams of gold if bought with gold, these being reckoned according to the values of silver and gold existing during the year, one must pay a zakat of 2.5% on them, per balance of the traveler. When the owner buys trade goods that cost at least the gold or silver zakat minimum, the year of the merchandise's possession is considered to have begun at the beginning of the gold or silver zakat year, so that a merchant's zakat is figured yearly on his total business capital and goods.
and remember, we said trade goods are those things which you buy, sell, buy again, sell again, buy and sell. But if you just do it one time, it's not considered as really a trade good.
The zakat of Eid al-Fitr.
So
4.10.
you have two types of zakat. You have zakat on money, property, and zakat on people. So the previous zakat that we mentioned, the zakat on animals and crops and trade goods and money, those are zakat on property. The zakat of Eid al-Fitr is the zakat on people. So what the item that you're estimating or the thing that you're paying zakat on is people, not property.
The zakat 4.10. The zakat of Eid al-Fitr consists of 2.03 liters per relance of the traveler of the main staple of the area in which it is given, of the kinds of crop on which zakat is payable, as defined at 4.1 letter C. If the main staple is bread, as in many countries, only wheat may be given, and is what is meant by the expression giving food here and in all texts below dealing with expiations. The
Mhm.
Hanafi school permits paying the poor the wheat's value in money, both here and for expiations.
And
It is
here, since this is the more valuable thing, our teacher said that we should pay in money. Because what is more, the object of a zakat is to do what is beneficial to the recipient. So the money was more beneficial to the recipient in our conditions.
It is permissible to give the best quality of the staple food of the area, but not to give less than the usual quality, such as by giving barley where wheat is the main staple. The gift must be paid by every Muslim, and, per translator, by that Muslim for every person he is obliged to support, as defined at 8.8. Per reliance of the traveler, such as his wife and family, example his young son, grandson, father, or mother, if they are Muslim, and if he has enough food, per reliance of the traveler, 2.03 liters per person above his own expenses and theirs, in excess of what he needs to feed himself. Per reliance of the traveler, and those he is obliged to support in excess of what he needs to clothe them, and in excess of his debts and housing expenses on the day of Eid and the ensuing night. Per reliance of the
So
traveler.
debts that are not due are not considered in this. Only debts that are due.
It is permissible to give the zakat of Eid al-Fitr to deserving recipients anytime during Ramadan, though the best time is on the day of Eid al-Fitr before the prayer. It is not permissible to delay giving it until after the day of the Eid. That is, one may give it until sunset, and it is a sin to delay until after this. One must make it up by paying it late.
Mhm.
Giving zakat to deserving recipients. 4.11. Zakat is
So this
distributed.
is important to know who can receive a zakat. So we talk about who is it obligatory on, what is the amount they have to pay, and everything related to that. Now, the author mentions who are the deserving recipients, and they are the ones who get the zakat money, not others.
Zakat is distributed among 8 categories of recipients, or those of them who are found. Per the lines of the traveler,
So
it is
meaning if all 8 categories are not available, you give it to the categories that are available. So you have 8 categories, and you have zakat, you give it to a portion to each category. If all categories are not available, you give it to the categories that are available.
per the lines of the traveler. It is permissible for the zakat giver to personally distribute his zakat to eligible recipients or to authorize an agent, wakil, to do so. The
And
eight
that is usually what they do when they give the money to the masjid. Because the masjid knows the deserving recipients and the most needy of them. So it is wiser to give the money to someone who would be authorized to distribute to those people because they know who needs it. Mm.
the 8 categories are number one, the poor, per reliance of the traveler, meaning someone who A does not have enough to suffice himself, per translator, for the expenditures of one day, such as not having any wealth at all, or having some, but he is unable to earn any, and what he has is insufficient to sustain him to the end of his portable life expectancy, if it were distributed over the probable amount of remaining time. Excuse me. Insufficient meaning it is less than half of what he needs. If he requires 10 dirhams a day, for example, but the amount he has when divided by the time left in his probable life expectancy is 4 dirhams a day or less, not paying his food, clothing, housing, and whatever he cannot do without, to a degree suitable, per translator, i.e., it would be commonly acknowledged as such, to someone of his standing without extravagance or penury that he is poor, all of which applies as well to the needs of those he must support, as defined in
Mhm.
8.8. A mechanic's tools or scholar's books are not sold or considered part of his money, since he needs them to earn his living. B. And is either unable to earn his living by work suitable to him, such as a noble profession befitting him, giving his health and social position, which inability is considered the same as not having any work.
So what we learn from this is that poor is relative to different people. The definition of poor is not the same for every single person. It goes on that person and their status and their lively and what they need. Mm.
If such an individual were an important personage unaccustomed to earning a living by physical labor, he would be considered poor. This also includes being able to do work suitable to one, but not finding anyone to employ one.
Mhm.
Or is able to earn his living, but to do so would keep him too busy to engage in attaining knowledge of sacred law. Per translator Nawawi notes, rahimahullah, if able to earn a living at work befitting him, except that he is engaged in attaining knowledge of some subject in sacred law, such that turning to earning a living would prevent the acquisition of this knowledge, then it is permissible for him to take zakat, as discussed at 8.9, because the attainment of knowledge is a communal obligation, though zakat is not lawful for someone able to earn a living who cannot acquire knowledge, even if he lives at a school.
Here, this is something that we in the Black community need to take advantage of. We do not have our own religious learned scholars or enough of them. So, in our situation, it is extremely important that a portion of that money that is collected for zakat is dedicated for people who have the ability to seek knowledge of the sacred law and come back and become teachers. It is seriously something that we should consider as an essential aspect of our religious survival in this country. If we stay in the position of relying on others to teach us and our children, we will be in the slave position to the day of judgment. I cannot emphasize this point as more. We have to be diligent in preserving our own legacy. The idea that we are too stingy to support our own educational growth is a crime that we're committing on ourselves. Most major institutions outside of the Black community are using this mechanism to actually produce teachers and scholars that we pay after they're supported through zakat. That institution has all these people, and we send our children to them so that we can learn, and we ourselves never build anything. We have to change that narrative. And we have to be explicit about it. I know it for a fact. We have to fix this issue. We need, in our communities, all around the country, our own qualified, authorized teachers who learn properly. We can no longer accept that we're just the servant class. Please get this through your heads. As a people, I beg you, for our own survival, fix this issue. If not for yourself, for your children and your grandchildren, fix this issue. Really, 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 we have to fix it. You know, we have this mentality that we don't want to build our own stuff. We have to. It's a must. We cannot go on like this. Now, go ahead.
But if one's religious devotions are what keeps one too busy to earn a living, one is not considered poor.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, people short of money, per reliance of the traveler, meaning someone who has something to spend for his needs but not enough, as when he needs 5 dirhams but he only has 3 or 4. The considerations applicable to the poor person also apply to someone short of money, namely that he is given zakat if he cannot earn a living by work befitting him, or if he can earn a living but attainment of knowledge of sacred law prevents his doing so. Though if he is able to earn a living but extra devotions prevent him from doing so, then he may not take zakat.
So you have two types of people. You have the poor, al-faqir, that person. We need more than half of the Quran. We need a faqih. We need a faqih. We need a scholar, not just someone who memorized the Quran. We need a faqih. We need scholars. Even if they didn't memorize the Quran, we need scholars to take care of our issues. Really, 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 really stop. We need scholars. What we're dealing with. There's a big difference from a scholar and a memorizer of the Quran who don't understand what they memorized. We need scholars. It's much more involved. It's lifetime journeys. That's just me answering. I hope you feel my feeling and passion about this issue. We have to stop lowering the bar for ourselves. We need scholars. Yeah, man. Seriously. Yeah. It's so important. You know, we are starting right now. You want to start? I'll help you. We're starting. We've been started. Maybe people are not following, but I'm going to tell you where you can start. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to tell you where you can start. Right here. That's where you can start. That fund is deplete right now. We have people that's studying, two of them coming back because they don't have money. They're coming, one's on his way back right now who shouldn't have come back, but have to get money. But he's coming back and he's going to be with us at Masjid Muhammad to earn money for 1 year. Let us build that he just studies while he's here. Don't have to go to Mr. Charlie. Because I told him, I said, no, Mr. Charlie, come stay with us. Because if he goes to Mr. Charlie, that's it. I said, come stay with us and we'll do whatever we can do. But please, whatever you do, you study, you teach in the masjid, we'll memorize with you. You can't afford to stop studying, right? So he'll be back today, unfortunately. But that's real because we don't support our own. These are one-man efforts and everyone is, right? And we lost people. So right now, we can start right there. We will have a resident student of knowledge who's there, will continue to study, continue to train, and after 1 year, he's satisfied, he has money, and go back, right? There it is, right there. That's a viable, right now thing we can do. So, and it's more than that. We actually got two people, both of them coming back from different countries. And we need to support them, right? So that fund, we ain't got to talk about it, is a dire need immediately right now. And he's going to be working. Right? So this is some serious stuff. We and I'm saying, just imagine, even I've been on them but we gotta support. So there's your answer. We serious? That issue, to me, that's one of the most essential issues to protect our communities. Because people take our communities because we don't know nothing. We don't have qualified people that understood the religious sciences, that can teach. We don't do it. Right? So that is something that we have to do. So we're talking about young Black men and women that made the effort, but the support ain't where it needs to be. So that's it, inshallah. Let me move on. Go ahead.
Number 3, zakat workers, per reliance of the traveler. These include the person collecting it, the clerk recording what the owners give, the person who matches the payees to the recipients, and the one who distributes it to recipients. The zakat workers receive an eighth of the zakat funds. If this amount is more than it would cost to hire someone to do their job, then they return the excess for distribution to the other categories of recipients. But if less than the cost of hiring someone, then enough is taken from the zakat funds to make up the difference. All of this applies only if the Imam, Caliph, is distributing the zakat and has not allotted a fee to the zakat workers from the Muslim Common Fund, Fatul Mal. If the property owner is distributing the zakat, or if the Imam has allotted the workers a fee from the common fund, then the zakat funds are divided solely among the other categories of recipients.
And here, these issues, you'll notice, that's why we need to set up our communities where we're actually building something. Like this concept of the masjid, that's the center of our community. That was the center of the prophetic community, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to take care of our institutions and make them viable and sustainable through our own efforts.
Number 4, those whose hearts are to be reconciled, per reliance of the traveler, so their certainty may increase, or if they are recent converts to Islam and are alienated from their kin. Those to be reconciled include the chief personages of a people with weak Islamic intentions, whose Islam may be expected to improve, or whose, per translator, faith is strong, but whose peers may be expected to enter Islam.
And this is it's an aspect that the Prophet ﷺ used to bring people to the deen. Like they had funds to support the efforts of da'wah, right? And they used to do it. And they would use zakat money, right, to do it, as is mentioned here. Now,
Number 5. Bondsmen who are purchasing their freedom from their owners. Per Reliance of the Traveler, they are given enough to do so if they do not have the means.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna dwell on that one. But you know, in spirit, I think we can fall under those categories. Not really because we're not slaves, but in the mental spirit, subhanAllah, we need to give to free us, if get our freedom. Subhanallah. Ajib Kareem. Mm.
Number 6. Those who have debts. Per Reliance of the Traveler, and they are of three types. A. A person who incurs debts in order to settle trouble between two people, parties, or tribes involving bloodshed, as when there has been a killing, but it is not known who the killer is, and trouble has arisen between the two sides, or to settle trouble concerning property, such as bearing the expense when trouble occurs over it, per translator, or who has borrowed money to fulfill community interests, such as building a mosque, though it is invalid and impermissible to give or take zakat to build mosque initially, since zakat entails that someone who deserves it is actually given it, and it becomes his own property. Tamlik is given, is given zakat even if he is affluent.
So here you're looking at this what happens that some people go in debt to take care of the masjid, to build the masjid. Those people deserve zakat. So even the wealth that is given in zakat is considered those who struggle and sacrifice to build those masjids, to maintain those masjids. They're in debt because of a community interest. They struggle for that. They deserve to be supported. All of these mechanisms, we need to learn and apply them to the reality of our situation on the ground. Everyone does it, they just don't tell us. I watch them. You be thinking people's generous and building all these communities and institutions. That is a lot of zakat money. With all these rules used to advance their things. Those teachers are paid through zakat money. There is all ways they do and build for themselves. They never tell us. We just struggle and don't have the institution. And then they give us the strictest legal ruling, so we stay in the same position. While they use all of the rulings to support and build, and then have us go attend the stuff they built with the stuff we could have did ourselves with our money. Ya Latif. Ya Latif. Subhanallah. Wake up, my people. Wake up. Go ahead.
B. A person who incurs debts to support himself or his dependents is given zakat if he is poor, but not if affluent. If he incurs a debt for something lawful but spends it on something unlawful and then repents and is felt to be sincere in this, and the original reason is known to have been something lawful, then he is given zakat. C. And a third type, which, per translator, given persons X, Y, and Z, is when Z incurs a debt by guaranteeing to X that Y will pay X, per translator, what Y owes him. If Z finds that neither he nor Y can pay, then Z is given zakat. Per translator, because he has gone into debt in order to guarantee Y's debt, even if the reason Z agreed to guarantee Y was not charity, but was rather that Y would pay him back. 7. Those engaged in Islamic military operations, per reliance of the traveler, for whom no salary has been allotted in the army roster, but who are volunteers for jihad without remuneration. Number 8, and the traveler in need of money, per reliance of the traveler, meaning one who is passing among us, i.e., through a town in Muslim lands where zakat is collected, whose journey was not undertaken for the purpose of disobeying Allah Ta'ala, per translator, or other purpose that does not permit travel dispensations, such as mere sightseeing or traveling for its own sake. If such a person is in need, he is given enough to cover his personal expenses and transportation, even if he has money back home.
Even if he's rich, not just he has money, even if he's rich, but in that situation, he's still giving zakat. Mm.
4.12. The least that fulfills the obligation of zakat is to give it to 3 individuals from each category. Per reliance of the traveler, each category of recipients must receive an equal share, 1/8 of the total, but one may give particular individuals within a category more or less. Per translator, though the most reliable fatwa position in the late Shafi'i school, like the Hanafis, is that it is valid for the zakat giver to distribute his zakat to all of the categories, to some of them, or to confine himself to just one of them, except for zakat workers, per translator, who may number less than 3, and, per reliance of the traveler, who receive only their due wage, as discussed at 4.11, section 3, second paragraph. 4.13. It is not permissible to give zakat to a non Muslim or to give from the share of the poor to anyone who has enough for his needs, whether through owning or being able to earn it, as discussed at 4.11, section 1, A and B, or to give to anyone who is obliged to support, or to give to anyone is obliged to support. I'm sorry, that's not right. Or to give to anyone one is obliged to support, per reliance of the traveler, such as a wife or family member, as defined as at point 8.
وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we have 2 more sections, inshallah, because I have to finish this book before the end of this month. Because next year we're going to have a whole new schedule. So I'm trying to get done so that we can reschedule everything for the 1st of January. So we'll have a whole new program, a whole new outline, and if Allah facilitates. But we will be coming back. As I said, this book will be a regular study. May Allah make it easy, inshallah. Yeah, so tonight is Wednesday, so we have relaxed day tonight, inshallah ta'ala. But I encourage you, seriously, one of the mistakes that I believe I made, and I'm just realizing over time that it was a mistake, is not encouraging us to be financially responsible for what we receive. It's a noble thought. Make it free, and inshallah, people would learn and they would benefit. But uh, it has a backdrop, it has a negative to it. Sometimes when things are given to us free, we don't respect it. We don't value it because it's free. So in one sense, you want to make it accessible, so you make it free. And then in the other sense, you devalue it when you make it free. So we're in a position that sometimes we're doing a self-defeating thing and not realizing it. So the medium for me between that is to constantly remind you that even though it's free, it's not free. We have to support our own work and our own community development, our own masajid, our own institutions, our own students, our own teachers. We have to take care of that. And we cannot keep saying we're poor. We are not poor. Just look around your house and see how wealthy you are. You're not poor. We're stingy. And we have to be honest. That's not for every single person, but it is for plenty of us. We're not poor. We're stingy. Learning and building our Islamic infrastructure is not a priority. It's not that we can't do it. We can, but it's not our priority, and we must fix that. And from our side, all we can do is remind. All we can do is explain. We're not going to get anything done truly in America without financial support. Don't believe it. If you think in America, in the society we live in, that you're going to develop and advance without a financial support, forget about it. You'll get some things done, yes, but overall, you ain't going too far. That's well known. So I'm reminding you of that. And that's everyone to do their part. And everyone knows their part. I know where I'm slacking. I know exactly where I'm slacking. I know what I can do, and I know what I can't do. And I'm quite sure everyone else knows the same thing, right? Now, the question is how important it is to you, right? I listened the other day, if y'all remember, our sister, she's white. She said something that was offensively true. Our sister yesterday, like 2 days ago, she came on in the morning after the class, and she said something that was offensively true. I didn't like it, but I didn't cut it off because I knew she was right. Even though it was offensive, I knew she was right. And what did she say? She said from her experience, and she can only speak from her experience, that we want leadership. She was talking about the Black Muslims that she experienced. And I know those Black Muslims, so I know the situation, right? They don't sacrifice like they should. And others make those sacrifices all around the board, and they get the leadership. So if we want the leadership, we must make the equivalent, if not more, of such sacrifice. And she was right. And some of us might have been like, what you mean? I know Black people, we ain't talking about one individual. We're talking about a group effort. We haven't done our work like we need to. That's true. Now, the thing is, are we going to change that? Are we going to change that? Listen, some of us have been in organizations and you watch it for 30 years, 20 years, and you don't see real empowered Black leadership. You know it. You see token Negroes under the leadership of someone else. You know it. What you going to do to change that situation? You know it. It's not that you don't know. It's not like you don't see it. You see it. What are you going to do to change that situation? You have to build for yourself. That doesn't mean you're against anyone else. It's natural for people who have humanity and dignity to build something for their future that they can be dignified by. That's natural. It's not strange. What is strange is the condition that we're in that we won't do for ourselves. We'll just be in the stands with pom-poms and yes, 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 but we won't actually get on the field and take a hit. We'll be in the crowd clapping, but we won't get on the field and take a hit. And that hit has to be in our wealth and in ourselves. In our wealth and in ourselves. That's it. It gotta go beyond just rhetoric. Some of us have to turn supporting our Islamic efforts like we pay our bills. It has to become a bill for us and not the minimum bill. Not our cable bill is higher than our Islamic support. Our internet service, our entertainment is more supported than our Islamic institutions. Our students and teachers and the stuff we're trying to do, we pay more money on entertainment and luxuries than we do on that. It's not even 20% of our entertainment and extra bills, not necessities, just enjoyment. Not even 20% of that goes towards our Islamic communities and efforts to build. We have to fix this mindset. We have to fix the mind. And I know it because every Black institution has the same discussion. That's how I know it. I know other masajid. I know other imams. I know community efforts. It's the same song. We have to change it. And if we change it one by one, that's great. One by one, that's great. But it must become something we do. We read about zakat. Listen, in our condition, that may be the means by which we change our conditions, by being diligent and using our zakat funds wisely. And knowing the rules so we don't use them improperly, but knowing the rules, how do we use these to support our own efforts and growth? So you got to pay the zakat. You have to pay it. And maybe I don't give sadaqah, but you have to pay zakat. Take that zakat and put it in these institutions that know the need of the people and know how to work it according to the sacred law, not breaking the rules. It's important. So even if you're not going to donate, send your zakat to Masjid Muhammad. Let us do what we have to do to change the situation of our people. Even if you cannot do it yourself as sadaqah, which would be great. Send your zakat to Masjid Muhammad. Authorize us to distribute it properly. We'll get it done to the best of our ability. I'm not saying we can do everything, but make sure nobody on this platform send their zakat somewhere else. Send it to the masjid. Send it to Masjid Muhammad and authorize us to distribute it. We'll get the job done. We'll get it done. We just need your support. We do, because we're at war and we need soldiers on the battlefield. We're at war and we need soldiers on the battlefield. And as we read, soldiers need to be supported. Students need to be supported. Teachers need to be supported. We need to build our institutions. Mosques need to be built. People need to go in debt to do that. All kinds of means that we need to build our stuff. We got to do it. No. Paying exchange is and service charge is not interest. No. Uh, I saw another question before we close out. Somebody sent a question. I missed it. Oh, are non-praying Muslims eligible to receive zakat? Yes. It's two different things. Maybe zakat will make them start praying, as long as they're Muslim. I'm sorry. I might have missed some questions. Did I miss? If you, yeah, that's heavy, Sister Eleanor. We get what we want and beg for what we need as a people. That's sad. Because we get what we want, we do that. And then what we need, we have to go, instead of taking what we want and put it into what we need. Strong point. But from our side, we can't be shy to explain to us and encourage us to do what we need to do for ourselves, even if it sounds like we're begging. In our condition, we have to remind us, or we're going to stay the same. Think of how many kids, Sister Eleanor, at your fine development over the years, how many African American children you've seen grow up in institutions and still today they're not in charge. They're not real leaders. They're not, and forget about the ones you lost. We're talking about the ones that are still around and still not leaders. Real leaders making decisions, changing the condition. They're being told what to do. Still to this day, after 30 years or more for some of us. It's serious. It's serious. And many of us have seen it. It can't go on. It has to stop. No matter how much we love others, no matter how much we're grateful to others, listen, man, it's time for freedom. It's time for freedom. We must be in the spirit of let my people go. It's time for freedom, straight up. I don't know how other to say it. We can't be religious slaves anymore. We can't. Spiritually, mentally dead. Because we're the ones who's supposed to go help the general community. Our community need us. If we're subjugated, how are we going to help the people who are not Muslim among our people who need us? You're not even an example. You just deliver them to another master. We're in trouble as a people. We have work to do. And of course, Mr. Charlie's cousin's going to tell you, don't do that. Don't think for yourself. Don't build for yourself. Continue to build for me. I'll build universities. I'll build schools. I'll build businesses. I'll build institutions. I'll even build new masjid and leave you right where you at. While we say, okay, boss, this stuff gotta stop. We can't accept it. And as long as, inshallah, I have a breath in my body, I'm going to speak out against it. I will not settle for it until it changes. At least I see the change, a part of it. I want to do my part with my wealth, with my energy, with my family, with my children, whatever I got. Let's get it done. And all I ask is all of us to do the same at our level, at our capacity. But all of us give what we got. We got to make this work. And Allah knows best. I don't like to single people out, but I know certain people and I know their backgrounds. So I know they understand exactly what I'm saying. They live what I'm saying. Many of us, right? So, Barakallahu bikum. May Allah reward you all. May Allah increase you all. And listen, I'll say this to my non-African American brothers and sisters. We have to do what we have to do, even if it makes you a little uncomfortable. We have to do what we have to do. We have to say what we have to say, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Because in reality, we can't stay in this condition. We cannot. And if it were you in this condition, you wouldn't stay there either. You wouldn't accept. You wouldn't accept. And that's why many of your forefathers came to America to find a better life because they didn't accept. Well, we're in America and need a better life, so we don't accept. If they immigrated to America to find a better life, we're in America and we need a better life. So, inshallah, I hope my message reaches you, reaches your heart, and motivates you and moves you to get this job done. Because I don't know how long I'm going to live, and I don't know how long we're going to live. But I know no matter how long that is, somebody's coming after us. They're already here. We have children and grandchildren and neighbors and youth. We have to lay something for them. We have to lay out something for them that they can be proud of, that they can grow and develop and contribute to the world and not just be a servant class. We have to do our part. So I'm just going to ask my favorite question. Is it clear? Is my message clear? That's all I want to know. Did you receive my message? Is it clear? Oh, Sister Rosalinda, I got your proposal. I just haven't had time to sit down and do everything yet. I actually all day I'll be busy, but I did get your message, and I am considering what you mentioned. I just got to get time to put it together. But don't think I forgot you. I did get you, and I will be responding. Uh, for those who don't have money, let me explain something to you. You have money because you have your efforts. You can encourage others who have money to give. You have a mouth. You know people. Even if they gave $1, you can encourage someone to give $1. I don't have $10. I have $1. Okay, give that dollar. And if you got 100 people to do that, that's $100. One day, I told this to someone. We was driving in the car. And the person, it was a student of knowledge. He told me, I'm broke. I can't do anything. I said, you're not broke. You can do something. All of us can do something. He said, what do you mean? I said, we can do something. You don't have no money, but you know people with money. Call them. I said, let me show you. I picked up the phone while we was driving. I called like 3 people that I knew. And each of them, and I just said to him, I said, I need you to immediately donate $100. And they immediately, they didn't even ask why. They said, Imam, you need me to give $100? Yes. Boom, boom, boom. Just like that. I said, you can do the same thing. You might not can't get $100. You might can get more. I don't know who you know. You know who you know. I did it right in front of them. You can do it. And that was I didn't have maybe the money to do it at that moment, but I could reach to someone who did. So you can do something. Or if you don't have any to do that, you can raise your hand. Oh, Allah, help them reach their goals and objectives. And you can beg in the depths of the night. You can do that. You can do that. So for us, that's what we have to do. If we're serious, we can do it. Trust me, we can do it. And we've done a great job thus far. So don't think I'm minimizing what we've done. This group that we have, this 3453 family, this family, subhanallah, this family, I wouldn't trade y'all for the world. Subhanallah. The work y'all have done in these years, boy, do I respect y'all. However, we still have a lot to do. Do you have my permission for what? You can do whatever you want. I'm not shy. Go do what you got to do. We got to work. Do what you got to do. Just make sure you do what you say you're going to do. So no one accuses you of stealing. So whatever you do, make sure you do what you're going to do so no one accuses you of stealing. People will be quick. So watch yourself. Don't get yourself in trouble. I don't suggest that. So may Allah make it easy. Barakallahu bikum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.